Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting. Please note, like usual, there'll be live broadcast meetings and will be available to view on the Combine Authority YouTube channel. And please, everyone in the room, remember to use your microphones when speaking. Thank you very much. Item 1 is apologies for absence. Are there apologies today, Edward?
Yes, thank you. We have apologies from Councillor Gareth Dadd with Councillor Janet Sanderson substituting, from Councillor Claire Douglas with Councillor Jenny Kent substituting, and Councillor Peter Kilbane with Councillor Katie Lomas substituting.
Thank you very much, Edward, and thank you to all those come in today and spend your time with us today, and particularly thanks to Janet. I believe it's the first time you stepped in today, so thank you very much for your time today. Item 2, minutes of the meeting held on the 26th of November 2025. Are members content with the minutes of the record? Yeah, I'll say it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, members. Item 3, declaration of interest. Does anyone have any declarations of interest to announce today? No. Okay, thank you. Item 4 is on to public participation. We welcome one speaker today, or question today, from Flick Williams. I believe Flick is online on Teams. If that's the case, ready when you are, Flick, to read out your question. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I ask you to cast your mind back to several years ago when I gave you a tour of inaccessible York, the barriers posed by the built environment and how we got to such a situation, one decision at a time. Well, now we have another decision approaching, which has the potential to build in inequitable access for years to come if the wrong choices are made. The architects for York Central Partners recently presented to disabled people for feedback on the next reserved matters application to go to planning. This reveals the step-free access to the Western Station entrance will be via lifts that will take one up, not down. Allow me to explain. The lifts will adjoin the extended enclosed footbridge and a new lift sited on platform 9 where a Costa kiosk currently resides. But then to continue your journey, you must find other lifts to take you down to the subways, either on platform 5 or further along on platform 9, creating additional wayfinding difficulties for those who are blind or visually impaired. Of course, those who don't need step-free access just continue along the bridge and descend stairs at whatever platform they need. We, on the other hand, have a convoluted journey both above and below ground to reach the same place. Equity of access? No. We are told once this is done, sometime later, without budget or time frame, internal station access will be improved. This will never happen. It can't, because station assets such as the old station master's office, now W.H. Smith, are listed buildings. The only way to achieve equity of access is to tunnel through from one of the existing subways to allow lifts from York Central to join it by travelling down. But York Central Partners tick the box of providing step-free access to the west of the station as per the outlined planning conditions, but doing it in this way bakes in permanently a long, convoluted, difficult journey for disabled passengers. This is a case study in how we end up with an unnecessarily difficult, excluding built environment. And here's another reason why that matters. Designed as a low-traffic development, there is woefully inadequate blue badge parking in York Central, but the developers point to the new multi-storey car park being built on the east side of the station as mitigation, necessitating this frustratingly non-direct journey from east to west, west to east, across the station, which will be significantly greater than 50 metres. The barrier to tunnelling is cost, although nobody will come out and say it, so they propose this hodgepodge solution. I have formed with Network Rail, who told me regarding the Cotmanthorpe inaccessible rail bridge that access is not value for taxpayer money. York Central Partners tell me, go lobby the mayor. He's the only person with the funds to change this. So here I am. I ask that you please meet with me urgently to discuss this further before the plans are submitted and the window to rectify this inequity closes. Thank you.
Flick, and thank you for reminding me of our day we spent around York a while ago, showing some of those areas where the city truly isn't accessible for all. As you'll be aware, I don't have any formal role in the York Central development. However, I do have an incredible keen interest in the site. and making sure that it is inclusive for everyone has to be a major part of making it accessible for all. I'll be honest, I wasn't aware of the initial findings that you've raised. However, I am more than happy to meet with developers, meet with yourself, and request a meeting for you to have with the developers to discuss these areas in more detail, because at the minute I wasn't aware of them in such in depth as you've raised. But thank you for that, and we will take that away. Thank you very much. Item 5 is the Mayor's update. Quite a few bits happened this last month or so. First part was the Moving Forward, which was a launch campaign a few weeks ago now at the North Yorkshire Sport Partnership Day. This is the first major part of the movement activity and sport fund, which is to really particularly focus on women and young girls, rural communities, people with long-term sickness, and really about we could support more people being active and moving across the region. And one of the major parts of that is to double in the community fund, focusing on the early intervention and prevention work as well, which has already started. And we very much know that when our people are healthier, our communities will be very much wealthier. So this is a great piece of work that's being conducted by the team, and I thank everyone who's been involved in that process. The community wealth building as well, we launched a commission which is being chaired by Sam Leach, who also sits on one of our boards, bringing together experts and leaders in the space to determine how, as the Mayor and how as the Combined Authority, we can keep and enhance work already ongoing in our region to keep more money in our local economy, and really showing how we can improve and work with key institutions to interact with our regional economy. Just this week, I was at the Regional Investor Summit, which was a fantastic day. I was supported by members of my team to go and work and to speak with the government and many businesses in and around the region, in and around the country, to show how we can be supported by them and how we can work more with them to drive that greater investment into our region and create those really high quality jobs that we so want to see in our region. I was also fortunate this month to go visit Colonel Stitt and go and see the Armed Forces community, who are doing fantastic work and who have a great presence right across our region. I think there's huge scope, how we can work closely with the military, particularly around the skills. And we also discuss mental health challenges and actually a really big focus on sport and what the military are looking to bring into sport into North York. So really a fantastic opportunity there as well. And just yesterday, we had a ministerial visit from Simon Lightwood, the Minister for Roads, and we showed him around the great work that's happening in and around York and North Yorkshire, and we travelled over to Malton to see how improving buses and public transport can have a really big impact right across our region, particularly in our rural areas and our smaller towns, which need that great connectivity as well. And we also got to see the first bus depot, which is the first fully electrified bus depot in the country. All 86, I think it's country, and all 86 buses in that fleet are fully electrified. So that's a great option there, great to see there as well. And we also, obviously, travelling on the A64, we also spoke about the challenge around the A64 and how we could work together on that challenge there as well. And you'll be aware that we've raised it before in one of these meetings about the bus franchising pilot, that we are beginning to undertake that work now. And we're obviously incredibly pleased to be one of the areas that have been given that bus franchising pilot. So that work is ongoing as we speak. Moving on to item 6 is update on the Mayoral Investment Challenge Funds. This is a report by Director of Economy, Andy Kerr, and it will be presented and spoken today with Andrew Lehman and support from Claire Robinson as well. Thank you very much, you two.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as already indicated, this is an update report, so there's no recommendation required. It's just to provide an overview of how the Mayoral investment funds are currently being used, of which there are 6 in total and 6 programmes. I'm just going to outline a little bit on each one. Obviously not going through the paper in detail, it's all the information is there. And also bring out a couple of examples of the types of things that have been supported. All these funds have been set out under prospectuses. They've all got assurance frameworks and processes attached to them in terms of how they're delivered. So just going through them, the Business Innovation Fund, which links to our supporting economic priorities around boosting business. It's a £5 million programme. It's split into 5 sort of sub-programmes, of which some have been launched, some are still ready to go out. We've had those 5 a sector growth grant fund, an export support programme, a great ideas programme, a get funded programme, and a spin out startup programme. Just picking up a couple of things from that, the export support programme, which is to support 150 businesses, 60 receiving financial support, and just a review of the previous scheme that was run under the SPF and has been developed under this one to show the benefit. £200,000 was invested in that programme under that scheme. That's seen a return of £3.7 million of orders for companies, so it just shows how successful those sort of programmes are to business. The movement activity and sport programme, 2.75 million. As the Mayor's already indicated, that was launched as part of the overall and overarching moving forward programme. Again, supporting our economic framework priorities around healthy and thriving communities. Again, consisting of a number of sub-programmes and elements. The actual activity and sport fund, the community extension to the community fund, and a workforce development activity. And again, a really important scheme in terms of bringing those elements across into the economic growth agenda as well, and the workplace agenda. Thirdly, the men's mental health investment programme, 715k of approval. Again, this came out of the July CA meeting, launched as part of the movement, the Moving Forward campaign. Some initial mapping work going on, and also we're also looking potentially at an exciting pilot which has been brought over for the sort of Movember scheme in terms of Men in Mind. And so we're looking forward to sort of seeing that roll out into Yorkshire. And in particularly a programme around health in predominantly male orientated sort of workplaces. For the Skills Innovation Fund, which I reported to at the last CA meeting in quite a lot of detail, so I won't go into too much on that, but 2.5 to training and learning some new skills in terms of our new growth sector skills and how that's rolled out. And so far, 30 tutors have been trained, 20 participants involved, facilities already upgraded. So we can already see some benefits for that scheme, the Skills Innovation scheme. And then the Vibrant High Street Fund, 10 million, supported through a series of rounds of grant applications. Round 1 had 19 projects supported. Round 2 has just supported a further 20 projects. So a total of just over, I think it's about 2.3 million. Round 3 is going out in early November. And also this is supporting the work that we're funding through the town Plan for Every Town scheme. And so hopefully further programmes will come through that. And then finally, the Transition to Carbon Negative, the Carbon Negative Challenge Fund, £10 million. So there's been £7 million of grants. Just to give some scale on that, there was £30 million worth of project bids under that scheme. So the interest was incredibly high for a £7 million grant fund. They're in the approval process as we speak. There's also £2 million allocated to an energy generation accelerator programme, which hopes to address some of the energy issues across North Yorkshire, York and North Yorkshire, and then further funding for advisory and advice on the carbon negative agenda. So as I say, no direct recommendation, but any questions. Claire is here, who's been looking after these funds for us. And thank her team for the hard work in terms of getting these off the ground. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for Andrew for that, and thank you for raising some of the pieces of work in there, and particularly thank you to Claire, who's here as well, in the amount of work that yourself and your team have done on this. Obviously, the campaign around activity and sport, particularly that we've been launching, the men's mental health work that we've been doing, that's a really exciting opportunity to really engage with so many of our communities right across York and North Yorkshire, and really focus on that health and well-being element of things as well, which I've been told in the past that we shouldn't be exploring, but I very much feel like I have a duty to really sort of support people physically and mentally, as well as, you know, creating new jobs and opportunities for them. So on just the high street, I've been very fortunate to go visit a couple of the projects as well in Moulton and Norton, and in Knaresborough as well, and seeing the work that's going on in those places as well. The Scarborough Map trial as well, which has been a great success over Scarborough Way. And as you touched on there, Andrew, the 19 new projects as well, that I think it's really important to show the real geographical spread when we're talking about York, Easingwold, Bishy Road, Moulton, Stokesley, Scarborough, Haxby, Whitby, Knaresborough, Leyburn. This is a really wide spread of areas that are getting impact with this brand new money that's come into the region as well. And the Innovation Fund as well. And I think it's fair to say that we've had fantastic feedback from government on that, and how well some of that has been delivered, particularly on that get exporting piece as well. So I think, again, the team should be really proud of that work, but also showcasing that we have to do things kind of different in our region because of our geography, and a lot of time it's our challenge, but it makes us do things in a different way. And I think we've got a really good opportunity to showcase that work, and now been praised from government and other partners about that great work we're doing there is great to see. So again, a big thank you to everyone who's been involved in that. Claire, your team in particular, and you know, I think we've already shown some great work, but there's a lot more to come, and I'm sure I'm going to be coming to you for a lot more work, Claire, in time. Any question or comments for yes, Joe, would you like to come on there?
Thank you. I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to the community fund, and particularly the community fund element of the Mayor's Investment Challenge Fund, because what it has effectively meant is that we have doubled the size of that fund. It was always, we've had it for quite a long time, giving grants to organisations across the region up to £30,000, supporting organisations and voluntary groups across the region with up to £30,000 each time. But this additional money means that that fund will effectively be doubled, and it will mean that there will be a particular focus on projects that will address antisocial behaviour and prevention of crime, early intervention and prevention projects. And I know that comms are going out to stakeholders across the region already, but it was just a plea to members present to kind of amplify those messages where possible, to make sure that groups across York and North Yorkshire are kind of aware, of that funding, and apply either in this wave, which is open now and closes just before Christmas. I think it closes on the 5th of December. Or just look out for it, because it will be a rolling programme of funding that's available, which I know that when money is tight in other places, as I know it is, it's just good to know that there is some additional money available, particularly to those small community groups where £20,000, £30,000 can make a massive difference to the viability of those organisations. So thanks.
Thank you, Joe. Any more comments or questions for anyone for the team, Andrew? No? Can we seek the recommendations on page 22 of the agenda pack? Seek a proposer, please, Carl, seconder. Thank you. And all those in favour, please vote. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Claire. Item 7 is the Get York and North Yorkshire Working Plan. Again, a report by the Director of Economy, Andy Kerr. Andrew Lehman will speak to this report. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. I presented a very early draft of some of the key elements of this at the last CA meeting, but this report sets out the draft Get York and North Yorkshire Working Plan for approval by this CA. As a key strategic document, and this is prior to publication of the final document in accordance with government guidance. The government set out in their white paper for Get Britain Working the idea of local Get Working plans for each area, and this is our version of that. It's been done in consultation with the local authorities, Department for Work and Pension, and Integrated Care Board, and a number of stakeholders during the process of pulling this together. Just picking up some highlights from it really. Overall, the vision of the plan is primarily to look at how we can get more people to enter the labour market, get work, remain in work, and then progress in good quality, secure work. So securing sort of healthy and thriving communities and businesses. So the key thing is this sort of enter and remain and progress in the workplace. Some of the key issues just to highlight within the plan, the sections around some of our labour market challenges, and you can see there within the document how some of that is mapped geographically, but some of those issues around accessibility, people furthest from the labour market. The government's target for activity, I don't use the word inactivity because every time I have done at this group, I've been knocked back from it. But those inactives in the official term is not as high here than it is in many areas. But I think we were trying to look at this plan as being identifying some of those where that was specifically high. They've got a target of 80% activity, and we're already at 79%, but there's lots to do in some geographical areas. So just looking at how the plan sets out sort of the key priorities and actions. So under, as I say, under that enter, remain and progress, the idea is to support pathways for local people. So that's delivering and developing provision, very much led by evidence and data. And what we start to pick up from that, start to look at developing and delivering a very person-centred holistic approach. So it's very place-based because it's orientated towards where the specific needs are. Being agile, utilising as much as possible the Devolved Skills Fund and the employment funding that we've got, and starting to look towards developing an all-age career support rather than specifically just a young person's career support programme. Then secondly, the second key priorities is enabling good work. So this is supporting very much employer engagement and business engagement, simplifying the work and health and skills landscape, particularly for employers, and supporting and linking into the work that we're doing under our Community Wealth Building Commission in particular. And then finally, the strategic alignment and collaboration. One of the key parts of the government's push towards these plans is for organisations to start to look very much at working more closely together. And in particular, we've identified within this the sort of system of sort of leadership through the development of shared governance models, providing system coordination, accessibility and navigation, so it's much easier to navigate the system. A big issue around data intelligence and research, but how we can better integrate that so we can target those most in need and address some of those issues around the evidence and robust evidence and targeting basis. Strengthen our strategic alignment across the area, and also very importantly build capacity and capability across the system. So that's how the plan's set out. The recommendations are that the combined authority members to approve the plan as set out in the appendix to the report, and also that the combined authority give delegated authority for final approval of the plan to the Director of Economy in consultation with the Mayor, so that it can go towards publication. The plan is seeking also the endorsement of the local authorities and the Integrated Care Board. So it's awaiting those endorsements to come through. So we want to present this as an approved plan to that process. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. And again, huge piece of work. And say for the first time, we're setting out a long-term 10-year plan to get York and North Yorkshire working. And you know, just in my term, we're going to be spending about £77 million supporting 41 people to learn new skills, find work and get that support they need to stay in their jobs and become the next generation of workers in our region. And again, through our careers support, we're helping over 50,000 young people as well to be aspirational about their futures and being in our region. And that's always the challenge we face, is how we keep young people in our patch. And this piece of work is going to go a long way towards that. you know, so having that funding and having this plan is really going to set our stall out and how it aligns to what, you know, a lot of what our industries are saying as well. Having those skills aligned to that as well is an absolute critical part of it. So how it's all joined up is brilliant. Any questions or comments for Andrew on this at all? Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I'm very happy to support this and endorse it. We are extremely fortunate in this area to live in an area where, fortunately, unemployment is low. But we do know that there are pockets and cohorts of economic inactivity. And as Pete's not here, we can say it today. But you might have seen one, David, when you visited Catterick Garrison, where we have a lot of single parent spouses when soldiers are on active service, whether they be male or female soldiers. So very happy to endorse this today.
And that is our challenge, isn't it? It's those real deep pockets of deprivation that we need to really target, and that makes our challenge even greater, but even more imperative that we get it right, so we support everyone across the region. Thank you, Andrew, for that. So if we're happy with those, recommendations are on page 39. Seek a proposer for this, Councillor Carl, and a seconder. Move to a vote. All in favour of the recommendations? Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew, again. Item 8 is the Mayor's Active Travel Fund report from the Director of Economy, Andy Kerr. Andrew, you can take a break for a minute. Mike Scott to introduce the report. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. So this is a £4 million fund available over the next 2 years, focusing on investing in active travel. And in terms of trying to emphasise the reasoning behind this, I'll reflect on paragraph 3.2 of the report. Active travel, encouraging active travel, not only has transport benefits associated with reducing the use of motorised modes, it also has significant physical and mental health benefits, as well as contributing to environmental goals. And well-designed active travel schemes can also contribute to improved road safety for all users. So, you know, this is a fund that's really pressing all the right buttons in terms of what we're trying to do around transport and your wider sort of agenda. What's really important here is that we have a situation where both of the local highway authorities don't have a strong rating through Active Travel England for delivering active travel schemes. That suppresses funding. The purpose of this funding is to spark an upward movement in that, and to increase our funding, working with our new Active Travel Commissioner, increase that funding and increase delivery and getting more funding into active travel schemes in future with that capability rating increased. So the fund is split into two pots: a larger pot for public authorities to draw down and progress the schemes in their local cycling and walking infrastructure plans, to crack on with those plans that are already in place, and a second smaller pot for smaller initiatives that communities and interest groups can access to do their piece to encourage active travel use across York and North Yorkshire. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for once again, thanks for the work on this. And I say, I've spoken to countless communities and people right across the region, and it's very, very clear that they want to see safer streets, that people feel much more confident they can walk, wheel and cycle right across the region. They definitely want us to do a lot more in this area. As we said, there is good work going on in York and North Yorkshire currently, and supported by local authorities. And so this fund is really support that work, support our work with Active Travel England to get those scores up, to build that capacity, so we can get that increased funding and we can really get delivery out into the people of York and North Yorkshire who really want to see this. And I'm very much a firm believer that our residents know what is best for their neighbourhoods. And so if we're engaging with them in those community groups, they're going to have a big say in this and that real big buy-in, because so much of what we're talking about this report is actually that mind change and then bringing communities on with us around active travel, because we know it's an imperative of this. So working very much with them, and part of the wider piece of the Moving Forward campaign that we launched only 2 weeks ago, that wider Healthy Thriving Community piece, it all buys into it, so it all plays into that. So it's an ongoing piece of work. But again, thank you, Mike, and the team for the work on there. Any questions or comments on this? Joe Cole's had to come in there on that.
Thank you, and thank you also to Mike for the work that he's done, particularly the engagement work that I know that he's had with the North Yorkshire Road Safety Partnership on some of the elements of these things. And I realise that the thing I'm going to say is a kind of bit part in what is a more important strategic fund for the region in terms of improving active travel across the region. But I know that when the Mayor talks about safe streets, I assume he's meaning safe for everyone, whether that's children or young people who are trying to travel to school, or teenagers on their bikes who are going to the gym or to see their friends, women and girls who want to get home safely after college or work, horse riders who might be out in the countryside, elderly pedestrians or wheelchair users who are trying to cross the road, as well as all the car drivers and other road users as well. So I think the thing that I wanted to just stress was how pleased I was to see as part of this, the £1 million for small scale projects that's set out on page 5, 3.12, because over the last 15 months or so, I've probably now met with dozens of parish councils from across our region who all want to talk about safer streets and how we make getting around our areas easier, especially for pedestrians and residents, rather than those who are just passing through in a car. And I know that they will feel particularly empowered by this fund. So it's a kind of, again, a plea to combined authority members, whether they can help to amplify the availability of that fund to our parishes and also to our non-parished areas, because it's really important that we are also, that non-parished areas are also able to access those small pots of money so that we optimise the delivery of active travel for everybody in the region. But I think this is a really, really welcome report and really good progress for people across the region. So thank you.
Thanks, Joe, for those comments. Any comments or questions from anyone? Would that come in there, Carl? Councillor?
Thank you, David. I mean, I feel very sorry that I can't actually support this proposition today, and I would like to. I mean, I certainly agree with the concept of active travel, and I don't think anybody disagrees with the concept of active travel. And I certainly support the idea, David, of you setting up an active travel fund to develop initiatives. But I do have some concerns about the process, and I've expressed them before. I do worry that having the two funds is going to promote some unhelpful competition between the funds, and I thank Mike for the work that's been done to reduce the size of the funds and put them into scale. So I think that goes some way towards mitigating that. I wonder whether the managing agent could actually be the local authority ourselves, whether we need to create something else. Do support the idea of an active travel commissioner, having seen an active travel commissioner working elsewhere, and getting the buy-in from the public. But I don't agree with procuring an external partner to manage the process.
And I take those points on board, council, as we had to have these conversations. We said one of the major challenges that Active Travel England have identified, both local authorities, is that ability to deliver on projects. And this is why having this external fund, having the team, having the commissioner is a major part of how we're going to improve that rating with Active Travel England and show leadership in this area, to therefore get us up that ranking, to be able to get more funding into local authorities to deliver on those projects going forward. And as we've pointed out before, the active travel isn't just about large infrastructure projects. It's about engaging with those community groups. It's about bringing parish councils, about bringing organisations on board as well, because so much of active travel is actually a mind shift, but also it's bringing communities on board that they feel very much engaged with the process. So, which is why having the parts where local authorities have money, but then also those local community groups are going to play a huge part in shifting the dial on active travel provision across the region is absolutely key. But I do take your points on board, and I thank you for raising them. But I think we've got an opportunity to really take this on and show some leadership in the area and really ramp up the provision, deliver more for our communities, and get our rankings up so we can get more money in the future into York and North Yorkshire for active travel, which we have been left behind, unfortunately, on. Any more comments or statements? Are we right on there? Recommendations are on page 6 of the supplementary report. Even a proposer and a seconder for these. Proposer and a seconder, and move to a vote. All those in favour, and all those against, and all those abstain. That's it. Thank you. Yep. Oops. Item 9 is UK Shared Prosperity Fund and Rural England Prosperity Fund update. An incredibly catchy title. Report Director of Economy Andy Kerr, Andrew Lehman, you're introducing this one as well. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Mayor. This this report again is for provide an update. Basically, a bit of background. The Shared Prosperity Fund that is now with the Combined Authority is a final year of a fund that was previously administered by both of the other authorities under the previous government's announcement of the Shared Prosperity Funding. There's a £10.5 million annual budget to support this. The appendices that's attached to the report sets out the progress to date and the different elements of how the programme is being progressed, and also the different elements that have been put together. It's overseen and supported by a local partnership group, which is a combination in some ways of the two previous local partnership groups that were established for the City of York and the North Yorkshire one, and has been working really well in terms of its delivery. Much of the funds are sort of administered by the two authorities still in terms of the way that the programme operates. Just a couple of highlights really. In particular, the Rise to Thrive programme, which has been incredibly successful. It enabled a continuation of a key programme that targeted the hardest to reach, moving them closer to the labour market. And in some ways, a lot of those skills programmes that we talk about in the previous reports can't get to this group, and this programme has really helped to bring them forward so that we can get onto that. They've already seen 900 individual participants in that particular programme. Also, a digital adoption programme, which has empowered over 25 businesses to advance their digitisation through small grants, and providing those small grants that have had significant impact. So that's been really successful. There are others, I'm sure Claire can come in with others if need be, who's been operating and running the scheme. As I said, no direct recommendations. It's very much an update only report. It's on target to deliver by the end date of the end of March 2026. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. And Claire, once again, thank you for your work on this as well. I say just another example, just because it came to light this week, the Natural Health Service, the green prescribing, again, work with the national parks to help more people access our national parks and reap the health benefits associated with that as well, and the community building fund as well, which I think is getting on for £2 million now out into those community buildings as well. So there's some really great work going in those funds there as well. And again, that really good life spread right across the region. So thank you for your report there, and thank you, Claire, as well, and your team for your ongoing work on that as well. Any questions and comments for Andrew or Claire on those there? Recommendations are on page 115 of the agenda pack. Seek a proposer for these and a seconder, and all those in favour. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew, again for that. Item 10 is the White Rose Forest Strategic Plan 2025 to 2050 Strategic Partner Endorsement. Report by the Director, Andy Kerr. Andrew, to introduce this report again. Andrew, thank you.
I said last time it was the Andrew Lehman show, and I will say it again. My final report now. So White Rose Forest Strategic Plan. So the White Rose Forest is a community forest that covers York, North Yorkshire and West Yorkshire. The partnership itself consists of local authorities, combined authorities, West Yorkshire and ourselves, and national parks, national landscape organisations, DEFRA, various businesses and charities in the woodland side of things. It's not a single forest, it's a network of woodland and trees and forestry. This plan presented today is the long-term strategic document aimed at developing that forest and setting out its vision, aspirations, targets for woodland and tree planting across North and West Yorkshire. The purpose primarily of the strategy is to influence, advocate and raise the profile so that it enables further bidding for funding, but also directing the use of resources for this purpose. So its audiences are primarily political, business leaders, funders and partners. So just a couple of other highlights from the plan, really, that it sets out an ambition, a 25-year ambition to increase coverage of trees to 16.5% from currently it's 12%, so an increase of tree planting. It sets out a target to protect and restore more trees. Currently 62% have managed, and it's set a target to 70%. And also that in particularly that there is much more engagement with people, communities and businesses in planning woodland, which it's looking at 50% of all households therefore enabled to access woodland, which brings in the sort of final objective, which is around not only people engaged, but also that it becomes part of health and well-being of those places and much better placemaking. So in a sense, the strategy is really important, and us as a partner really important in the sense of it becoming an attraction. So it helps to bring in new investment, helps to decarbonise. It helps in terms of the business side because there is quite a large timber wood products business and industry in this area. Obviously on the environmental side, apart from the carbon reductions, the carbon capture, it also looks at how you can resolve some of the issues around soil erosion and helps to reduce flooding, supports wildlife, and as I've already said, it becomes a really important community asset in terms of attracting places, being attractive places to live. And in particularly, one of our initiatives is the Green Streets initiative, so bringing trees into the towns. So the recommendation is to support the White Rose Forest Strategic Plan, endorse that plan so that we can demonstrate the combined authority as a key strategic partner. I think the plan itself is due to be launched, I think, just into the new year, as far as I'm aware. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Andrew. And again, it's fair to say this is a pretty bold and big, ambitious plan developed with across North and West Yorkshire. As they've already seen planting happening in the moors, and as you said there, the impact on slowing the flow and mitigating that flood risk, particularly further downstream, is going to be hugely beneficial. And so I'm personally looking forward to supporting this and developing a decent relationship with the White Rose Forest Partnership going forward as well. So a really great thing to be part of. I think we can all agree. Questions or comments for Andrew on that? Yes, would you like to come in, Councillor Kent?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank you for bringing this paper and also express support from our perspective for the White Rose Forest Strategic Plan. We approved it in York on the 1st of July as in the same terms. It closely aligns with all of our strategies, our local plan, the emerging local nature recovery strategy, our climate strategy, and it's really important to note that the connectivity of the trees is vital, particularly in an urban place like York, that there's huge possibilities across the region, York and North Yorkshire, but we struggle within the city and in urban places to plant trees, but they're really vital there for urban shade and cooling. And still we have situations where the more wealthy houses are often tree lined and therefore benefit from better air quality and cooling in the summer, which is going to be increasingly important with climate change. But our less well off streets are terraces which are bare of trees or of vegetation and will serve to be heat islands, and there will be further health inequalities deriving from that. So I'm really happy to support this, but really also want to make a plea to us as a region and as working in partnership with the White Rose Forest. We in York don't have sufficient council land to achieve the increase in canopy that we need to. We need to work with partners across the board, but we really also do need to pay attention to the Green Streets programmes for to reduce that health inequality, which will fall out of this if we don't start planting within our cities now. Thank you.
Excellent points, very well made. Thank you very much for that. Yes, would you like to come in there?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I thought it was a really, really good read, really interesting read. And I just wanted to say that I live very close to Dolby Forest, which is 8,836 acres of woodland. And I know that the village that I live in, I'm told by reputation, previously flooded before that forest was built. It used to be grouseland, and when they took away the grouse moor and they put Dolby Forest in, the villages below did not flood anymore. So I just think it's proof in action, isn't it? So thank you for the report.
It's excellent points again. Yeah, really well made. Thank you for that report, Andrew, as well. Recommendations can be found on page 125 of the agenda pack. Seek a proposer and seconder, and all those in favour to the vote. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Andrew, for that. Item 11, forward plan, a report from Paul Clark on this to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. Combined the forward plan is virtually as published this time. Very few amendments to make, but I will draw members' attention to one or two. For the 28th of November meeting, we now have an additional item on the local growth plan update and an item on the route map to a climate positive future strategic framework. There are also a number of additional items for the January meeting, including the Innovation Strategy and Action Plan, York to Scarborough Rail Service, and the Transport Capital Funding Programme, subject to confirmation from Department for Transport, but nothing else to add, Mayor.
Thank you, Paul. And I think it's just, this is like a very live document, isn't it? So I think going forward, we'll just be noting this as a piece. And just to note again, future CA meetings will be at the early time of 10:30 instead of 3, because it just helps us to be able to get through a lot more work in the day as well while we're there. So if members are happy just to note that, then we're happy with that. And then last but not least, item 12 is just urgent business. Anyone have any urgent business, or everyone else good? Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for all those in attendance and everyone who stepped in today as well. Thank you very much. And to Flick Williams for your question. The next scheduled meeting is Friday, the 28th of November at 10:30 at County Hall in North Allerton. Thank you very much, everyone.